Chosen one, 9 signs you are destined to be the richest in your family. Let me say something to you that nobody in your family has ever said out loud. You are not struggling because you are weak. You are not behind because you are lazy. You are struggling because you were chosen, and being chosen is the loneliest, heaviest, most misunderstood gift a person can carry. Right now, somewhere deep inside you, there is a voice. It whispers when the house is quiet. It speaks when you are staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m. It says there is more. There has to be more. That voice? That is not anxiety. That is not delusion. That is your calling. Stay with me, because what I am about to share with you will change the way you see every hard thing that has ever happened to you. You are exhausted in a way that sleep cannot fix. You look around at your family, people you love deeply, and you feel this uncomfortable mixture of guilt, responsibility, and quiet desperation. You want to help them. You want to pull everyone up with you. But first, you have to figure out how to pull yourself up. You have probably been told, maybe not in those exact words, but in 100 small ways, that people like you do not become wealthy. That wealth is for other families, other bloodlines, other zip codes. And the cruelest part? You started to believe it. You started shrinking your dreams. You stopped telling people what you really wanted because you were tired of the looks, the raised eyebrows, the soft chuckles dressed up as concern. But here is what I need you to hear before we go any further. The very fact that you clicked on this video means something. It means that voice inside you has not given up, and it never will, because it knows what you have not yet been able to fully accept, that you are the one your entire family tree has been waiting for. Let us talk about the 9 signs that confirm it. Sign number 1, you have always felt like you were born into the wrong chapter. You know that feeling of sitting at a family dinner, listening to the same conversations about the same problems, and feeling like you are watching it all from the outside, like a visitor. Like someone who landed in this family but does not entirely belong to the struggle that surrounds them. That is not arrogance. Please hear me on this. That feeling of quiet displacement, that sense that your mind operates on a different frequency than the people around you, is one of the earliest signs that you were assigned a different destiny. Psychologists call it self-concept discrepancy. When you feel you are inside does not match the environment you were placed in. And for most chosen ones, this starts in childhood. You were the kid who asked why too many times. You were the one who stared out the window during moments when everyone else seemed perfectly satisfied. You were not broken. You were built differently. And different in your family's story is exactly what was needed. Sign number 2, you carry generational weight that was never yours to carry. Here is something heavy that needs to be said. You have probably spent a significant portion of your life managing emotions that do not belong to you. Your parents' financial stress became your stress. Your grandparents' scarcity mindset became your inner voice. The unspoken fears of people who came before you somehow found their home inside your chest. This is called generational trauma transference, and it is far more common than most people realize. But here is the other side of that coin that nobody talks about. The fact that you feel this weight so deeply means you have the emotional capacity to transform it. Most people who are destined to break generational cycles are not the ones who were sheltered from the pain. They are the ones who felt every layer of it and still refused to let it become their permanent identity. You absorbed the pain of your bloodline so that you could alchemize it into something new. That is not burden. That is purpose. Sign number 3, you have a complicated relationship with money that goes deeper than logic. Ask yourself honestly, do you sometimes self-sabotage right when things start going well financially? Do you feel a low, quiet guilt when you spend money on yourself? Does comfort feel somehow dangerous? Do you sometimes feel, on a level you cannot fully explain, that having too much would separate you from the people you love? If any of that resonates, you are not broken. You are simply carrying what researchers call a scarcity identity, a deeply embedded belief that was installed in you by your environment long before you had any say in the matter. And here is what matters: you can feel all of that and still become wealthy. The chosen one is not someone who never struggles with money psychology. The chosen one is the person who becomes aware of those invisible chains and decides, one painful decision at a time, to walk forward anyway. Your awareness of these patterns is itself a sign. Most people in your family have never even questioned why they feel the way they do about money. You have, and that question is the beginning of everything. Sign number 4, you are driven by something larger than just personal gain. Pay close attention to this one, because it separates people who want to be rich from people who are destined to be. When you imagine your wealthy future self, what is the first image that comes to your mind? For most chosen ones, it is not a sports car. It is not a mansion sitting empty on a hill. It is a phone call. It is the moment you get to call your mother and tell her she never has to work again. It is the look on your younger sibling's face when you pay their tuition in full. It is standing at a family gathering and feeling for the first time like the generation of lack is officially over. That image, that feeling, that is your real motivation. And it is one of the most powerful forces in the human psychological experience: transcendent purpose. People who are motivated by transcendent purpose, meaning the desire to improve the lives of those they love, show measurably higher levels of persistence, resilience, and long-term focus than people motivated purely by personal comfort. Your why is not selfish, and that is exactly why it will carry you further than most. Sign number 5, you have been underestimated by almost everyone around you. I want you to think back. Think of every person who did not take you seriously. Every teacher who wrote you off, every relative who did not come to your graduation, every person who told you that your idea was too big, your dream was too loud, your ambition was cute, said with that specific kind of smile that means the complete opposite. Now I want you to understand something that might shift everything for you. Underestimation is a tax. It is a tax that the universe charges the chosen ones early, so that when the wealth and the success finally arrive, the character behind it is strong enough to carry it without collapsing. History is littered with people who were dismissed before they were celebrated. Oprah Winfrey was told she was unfit for television. Jay-Z was rejected by every major record label before he built his own. Sarah Blakely, the first female self-made billionaire in America, was laughed out of multiple boardrooms before Spanx became a global empire. The common thread? They were all underestimated by people who could not yet see what was. The people who underestimated you were not wrong because they were evil. They were wrong because their vision was limited. Yours is not. Sign number 6, you learn from pain faster than most people learn from success. This is one of the most specific and telling signs, and most people walk right past it. Think about your hardest moments: the financial collapse, the betrayal, the period when you did not know how you were going to make it through the next month. Now ask yourself, what did those moments teach you? If you're honest, answer is more than anything else ever has. Then you have one of the rarest qualities of the wealth-destined mindset: adversity intelligence. Most people experience pain and shut down. They close off. They protect themselves by shrinking their lives to a size where nothing can hurt them badly again. But you have a pattern of going into the hard thing, of sitting inside the discomfort long enough to extract the lesson from it, of emerging from your worst seasons carrying something valuable that you could not have found any other way. That is not just resilience. That is refinement. And every time life has put you through that process, it has been preparing you for a level of wealth management, leadership, and wisdom that simply cannot be taught in any classroom or any book. You were educated in the hardest school there is, and you passed. Sign number 7, you have an almost obsessive need to understand how things work. Does your mind ever just refuse to accept surface explanations? Are you the kind of person who reads the fine print, who watches a documentary and then spends 3 hours reading everything related to it, who, when someone tells you that is just how it is, immediately feels a quiet internal resistance that says, but why, though? This trait, this compulsive need to understand systems, patterns, and root causes, is one of the clearest psychological markers of the self-made wealthy mind. The people who break generational poverty do not do it by working harder at the same things their parents worked hard at. They do it by understanding the game differently. They ask questions others do not think to ask. They see patterns others miss. They connect dots that to everyone else look like completely separate, unrelated points. Your intellectual restlessness is not a flaw. It is not overthinking. It is your brain doing exactly what it was built to do, mapping a new path through terrain that everyone in your family has always treated as fixed, unchangeable. The map you are drawing, Your children and grandchildren will use it for generations. Sign number 8, you have survived things that should have stopped you. Let us be real with each other for a moment. You have had seasons in your life where you genuinely did not know if you were going to make it. I am not talking about mild inconvenience or temporary setbacks. I am talking about the kind of moments where the floor completely disappeared from under you and you were left mid-air with nothing to grab onto. And yet, here you are, reading this. Still moving, still searching, still hoping. That is not nothing. In fact, in the world of human psychology and behavioral economics, what you just described is one of the single greatest predictors of extraordinary success. It is called post-traumatic growth. Unlike post-traumatic stress, which closes a person down, post-traumatic growth is what happens when a person passes through a devastating experience and comes out the other side not just intact but expanded, more empathetic, more determined, more deeply rooted in what actually matters. Research from the University of North Carolina found that people who experience and integrate significant hardship often develop a capacity for meaning-making, purpose-driven action, and long-term thinking that is markedly higher than their peers who navigated comparatively smoother paths. In plain language, what tried to destroy you deepened you. And depth, in the long game of building wealth and legacy, is the ultimate advantage. Sign number 9, you feel a responsibility to your family that sometimes feels like it is tearing you in two. This last sign is the one that will hit the hardest, because it is the most specific and the most sacred. There is a particular kind of pain that only the chosen one in a family knows. It is the pain of loving people deeply unconditionally, while simultaneously needing to leave certain parts of the world they built in order to build something new. You feel guilty for wanting more. You feel selfish when you invest in yourself. You feel the pull of loyalty every single time you try to move forward, because moving forward feels, on some primal level, like moving away. But I need you to sit with this truth. You cannot pour from a container that is perpetually half empty. The version of you that stays comfortable, that shrinks, that quietly abandons the dream to avoid the discomfort of standing out, that version of you helps no one, not your family, not your community, not the children who will one day look at your life and decide what is possible for theirs. The version of you that does the hard, uncomfortable, lonely work of becoming that version changes everything. Your family does not need you to stay the same. They need you to succeed. And the most loving thing you can ever do for the people you come from is to become the proof that a different life is possible. That proof has a name. It is yours. I want to leave you with something that I hope you carry long after this video ends. You did not end up in the family you were born into by accident. You were placed there precisely because you are the one capable of rewriting the story. The struggle was not a punishment, it was a curriculum. At every painful chapter, every door that closed in your face, every night you cried and wondered why it had to be this hard, all of it was preparing you for a version of yourself that your family tree has never yet produced. You are the first draft of a new legacy, and first drafts are hard. They are messy and uncertain and full of crossed-out lines and moments where you want to throw the whole thing away and start over. But first drafts also become masterpieces. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not too damaged or too inexperienced or too far from where you want to be. You are exactly where you are supposed to be, standing at the edge of a life that no one in your bloodline has ever lived. And the only question that matters right now is this: are you willing to take the next step? Because the wealth is not just money. It is peace. It is options. It is your child never having to choose between their dreams and their survival. It is your parents resting for the first time in their lives. It is your name meaning something different for every generation that comes after you. That is what you were chosen for. And somewhere inside you, in a place that has survived everything life has thrown at you, you already know it. If this spoke to something real inside you, if even one part of this felt like it was written specifically for you, then I want you to do one small thing. Hit subscribe, not because of the button, but because subscribing is a tiny act of saying, I am choosing to stay in the room where growth happens. And for the chosen one who is still finding their footing, staying in that room is everything. New videos drop regularly, each one designed to go deeper, to challenge you further. and to remind you of what you are actually made of on the days when you forget. The journey continues, and so do you.